intimidate, and push out of the market. They did that in different states throughout the country. So this is very much specific vehicle or vehicle. You can sell it any way you like. That's the most easy free market thing possible. Why? It's just a lot of corruption. But it's perfectly legal. The Supreme Court legalized bribery. So there's more happening in that case. So then Elon came in, campaign contributions, and reversed it. So now we're in a battle where it's an open office, right? Different companies are buying different politicians, and then they're pretending to have debates about principles and ideas, etc. So now let's look at that. In the beginning, Facebook was not spending any money across almost any money. So what happens? They get it. The congressional hearings that Facebook started fake news, and oh my God, all this trouble for Facebook. And then Facebook does the logical thing. Oh, I need to grease these sons of bitches. Okay. So then they hire a whole bunch of Republican consultants. They go grease all the Republicans and most of the corporate Democrats. And then all of a sudden, no longer talking about Facebook at all. Facebook are an angel. And now we've turned our attention to Google. Facebook's top competitor. Funny how that works. Okay. And by the way, Donald Trump goes, oh, I picked up this big dangerous company in China. And then Jeff Yasko. TikTok. And he doesn't want TikTok. And of course, right? So he gives Trump a couple of $1 million. Trump turns around the next day. We're on TikTok. It's a good company, right? So that's a big politicians. It's not the entire thing. No, it is. 98%. I'll go out to these media and they'll like, oh, this is what you're saying. I can see that most companies is about 10%. I'm like, no, it's 98%. So I think a lot of people think it's 50-50. They have principles and they have money. No, they have money. This is venture principle. That's why I want to clarify 90. You guys know how to fix it. It's really interesting and how you bring it from capitalism to corporatism. So how can we create a system where free market capitalism can rule, which we can have these vibrant, flourishing of all these companies competing against each other and create yeah. So in the book that I call Democratic Capital, that's what Bernie's definition is, right? We can get into that, but so as Adam Smith said, and anyone who studies capitalism knows, you need the government to protect the market as well as the people. Because so, like, why do we have cops? Because we don't have cops. We go like Lexus, we equipment. Why not just go to house and pay, right? So you need the cops to protect you. That's the government. So people say, "Oh, I need a big government." Right? It depends, right? Your house gets robbed. Also, you like the government, but you also need cops like law. Because if you allow insider trading, then you're going to be blind, and the little guys can get screwed. So that's just easy. And so if you don't have those cops, the bad guys usually take over. They can set the rules for rules in their favor. So that's why you need regulation. And so you want this on purpose, make regulation dirty. They're like, oh, all regulation is bad. And then sometimes those bad people won't trust all regulation. Kind of like as a great analogy, Matt Solar, the original argument. And there's about four of us. I'm sure there's more, but the state, there was the beginning of progressivism, populism, Matt Solar, David Stewart, okay. And it used to be in the original blogger group, criticize one of our sponsors, one of our advertisers, etc. So we had a giant fight over it, and the compromise was I moved them lower in the script but kept them in the story, right? So sometimes it's super direct like that, but way more often it's implicit, it's indirect. You don't have to say it, right? So I give you a spectacular example of it so that you get a sense of how it works implicitly. So since GE is a giant defense contractor, they own MSNBC at the time of the Iraq War. They fired everyone who was against the Iraq War on air. So Phil Donahue, Jesse Ventura, Ashley Banfield. But Ashley Banfield, they did something different with. Okay, she was a rising star at the time. She goes and gives a speech in Kansas, not really even having a policy position, but just talking about the actual cost of this Iraq war and how we should be really careful. They hate that. So they take their rising star and they take her off.
He wants me.
And she goes, okay, good. Let me out of my contract. It's okay. I'll go. Because she was such a star at that time. She could have easily gotten somewhere else. They go, no, we're not going to let you out of your country. Why not? You're going to pay me to do nothing? Yeah. Not only that, we're moving your office. Where are you moving it to? They literally moved it into a closet. Okay. And they made sure that everybody in the building saw her getting taken off the air and moved into a closet. The closet is the memo, you're told. Okay? So that way I don't have to tell you and get myself in trouble. It's super obvious. There are guardrails here, and you are not allowed to go beyond acceptable thought. An acceptable thought is our sponsors are great, politicians are great, the powerful are great.
So how do we begin to fix that? Or what exactly are we fixing? Is it the influence of the lobbyists, the influence of, like, it feels like there's companies have found different ways to achieve influence, right? So how do we get money out of politics?
So it's very difficult, but doable, and we will do it. So, but in order to do it, the populist left and the populist right have to unite. Because, and by the way, that is why we have the culture wars.
That's why you're voting for Trump.
No chance. Okay, so we can get into that in a minute. So the culture wars are meant to divide us. If we get united, we have enough leverage and power to be able to do it. But you can't do it through a normal bill. Because if you do it in a bill, the whole point of capturing the Supreme Court was to make sure that they could kill any piece of legislation that would protect the American people.
You're saying the Supreme Court is also captured by this?
Oh, 100%. So, okay. So let me explain. Again, people, for the uninitiated, they think, oh, that sounds conspiratorial. Well, in this case, that's actually somewhat true because people now know about this. It's the Powell memo, right? Most infamous political memo in history. Lewis Powell writes a memo for the Chamber of Commerce in 1971. That's basically a blueprint for how the Chamber of Commerce can take over the government. And Lewis Powell explains one of the most important things you have to do is take over the media. But even more important than that is taking over the Supreme Court. Because the Supreme Court is the ultimate arbiter of what is allowed and not allowed. And he says, we need, quote, activist judges to help.
Yeah, but then you get blasted. What's the point in killing one guy when there's 8 more?
And then Nixon reads the memo and goes, that's actually a really good idea. How about I put you on the Supreme Court? And he puts Lewis Powell, the guy who wrote the memo, on the Supreme Court, where he's the deciding vote with Galati and Buckley. So those two decisions are 76 and 78. And what they say is, I read the Constitution, and it says that money is speech. No, it isn't. And no, it didn't. That's not even close to true. They just made it up. And they said, okay, corporations, they're human beings.